Hi guys, and welcome back to another Grand Prix. Today we're here for the 14th Grand Prix of Unlimited Racing 2D Championship Season 4. We're here in Australia. This is the penultimate Grand Prix of the Season 4 Championship, as you can see. And Charles Leclerc has an 11-point lead. It's an okay gap, I guess. That means that if Sainz were to win today and Leclerc were to finish P2, it would go down to the final Grand Prix with a gap difference of only 6 points. You know, I think Leclerc, he's in a position where it's his championship to lose, you know. If Leclerc finishes P2 twice, he's won the championship, you know. Although obviously that's easier said than done. Carlos Sainz, I said P2 with Max Verstappen P3. George Russell he's in, you know, fairly bad form. Now, is he out of championship contention? Mathematically, no, but mentally, I think so. Daniel Ricciardo P5 with Esteban Ocon P6, Pierre Gasly P7, Valtteri Bottas P8, Lando Norris P9, Antonio Giovinazzi P10, Sergio Perez P11, Alex Albon P12, Mick Schumacher P13 with Oscar Piastri P14 in the championship, Lance Stroll P15, Callum Ilott P16, Nick Hulkenberg P17, Nikita Mazepin P18, Kevin Magnussen P19, and last but not least, Yuki Tsunoda P20. Constructors wise, Alfa Romeo have a 2-point lead over Alpine. It's so close, honestly. This is where the big championship money is given out, you know. End of the season, constructors win. You know, that's what really matters. Although obviously the drivers' championship also gives you some profit. Mercedes, they're third, 7 points ahead of Red Bull. McLaren, I think they'll remain fifth. Force India, they're in a good battle with Williams, with AlphaTauri, Haas, and Ferrari at the back. Let's get into the weekend. My favourite for pole, I think Charles Leclerc. You know, less pressure on him, I guess you could say. So Leclerc, I would say, is favourite. Although right now, down the straight, you know, in the speed trap, it looks like Carlos Sainz is the fastest driver. Coming out of the first sector, it looks like still Sainz. Now we're halfway through the middle sector. Russell and Leclerc have managed to cut the gap. Max Verstappen, though, where is he? P8. Jeez. It's not been a good lap for Max. Pole position, it was really close throughout the whole entire lap. I think Carlos Sainz may have just got pole. No! I was wrong. Pole position actually goes to Charles Leclerc. Wow. Charles Leclerc on pole. Carlos Sainz P2. George Russell P3. Daniel Ricciardo P4. Esteban Ocon P5. I mean, wherever you find Ricciardo, you find Ocon. And look at the gap between those two as well. Lando beating out Max. Horrible qualifying for Max Verstappen. Valtteri Bottas P8, Antonio Giovinazzi P9 with Pierre Gasly finishing off the top 10. Alex Albon, first car in the second half of the grid in P11 with Oscar Piastri 12. Perez and Schumacher fill out row 7 with Tsunoda in 15th, Stroll 16th, Mazepin 17th, Ilott 18th, and 2 Ferraris of Magnussen and Hulkenberg on the last row. Let's get into this race. Sainz is starting on the hards, as does Verstappen and Bottas. That's who's starting on the hards in top 10. Anyways, lights out and away we go here at Australia. Leclerc gets actually a really good start. Obviously, we've seen in the last few races that starting on the hards, it's a risk. And honestly, I don't think it's been paying the rewards. It's not been paying the rewards. Anyways, after lap 1, it looks like George Russell has P1, followed by, well, Ricciardo, then Leclerc, then Sainz. However, Russell going slightly wide at turn 2. Max Verstappen's managed to claw back some positions, so now he's running P6. Charles Leclerc beginning to run away though, beginning to make a slight gap. Although I say that, George Russell is actually in striking distance of Charles Leclerc. Verstappen's now managed to overtake Lando Norris. Verstappen's going to go down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo too. Can he get the move done? The curb really helps Max Verstappen. And just like that, Max Verstappen is still in P4. At the top though, George Russell versus Charles Leclerc. George Russell round the outside. Oh, Leclerc gets back P1. Now Daniel Ricciardo's all over his gearbox. Nobody pitting yet. No, Lando. Lando's diving in the pits. He really wants the undercut. Esteban Ocon too. Well, I mean, the two racing points of the two Force India, of Giovinazzi and Piastri aren't going to be gaining any time. Going wide. Oh, I say that, and they're all over the rear wing of the Alphas. Daniel Ricciardo though, in the Alpine sandwich, go slightly wide. They will all be pitting now. Yep. Out they go. So who was trying the undercut? Honestly, I can't remember who was trying the undercut. I think it was Lando who was trying the undercut, and if so, I think he managed to undercut Daniel Ricciardo. I think it was Lando and Ocon. Yeah. Lando and Esteban. Anyways, there's Norris on Valtteri Bottas. Can he get the move done? It's a brave move around the outside. But he makes the move stick. What a move that was. Sainz and Bottas in the pits. Ocon trying to get Ricciardo. No. As I previously mentioned, wherever you find Ricciardo, you find Ocon and vice versa. The battle at the top though. Max Verstappen and George Russell. Although, take in mind, Verstappen hasn't pitted yet. Verstappen could potentially two-stop, I'm thinking. He could two-stop. Charles Leclerc is on the hards. How long do the hards take you? Because round here, you know, tyre wear is tyre deg. It's fairly low. The tyres don't die as quickly as they do at other tracks. So I think, you know, the soft tyres, you know, they run pretty well around here. The hards, obviously, even better. But there's Lando Norris. He's diving into the pits. Is he going to come out in front of Piastri? Oh, it's going to be close. No, just behind Piastri and Verstappen. If he can clear Piastri and Verstappen, you know, with ease, very, very quickly. Well, I guess we'll find out now. He's going to try to go around the outside. Uses some errs just to keep ahead of Bottas. Lando's on the hard, so I think, you know, with a couple laps to go, Lando may decide to head into the pits for the softs. Can Bottas do anything? No, he can't. Anyways, back at the top we are. Charles Leclerc has the lead. George Russell, who's made an extra pit stop, remember, because he went soft, hards, running P3. I think he could do what Lando's trying to do. Carlos Sainz is in, which frees up George Russell. There's Verstappen lapping Nico Hülkenberg. And by the time Carlos Sainz gets out of the pits, Max Verstappen is in front of him. The gap between George Russell and Leclerc is, unsurprisingly, coming down. Leclerc could pit now. If I were Leclerc, I would go on the hards and go until the end of the race. What are they going for? Hards or softs? They're going for the softs. Leclerc is going for the softs. So he's willing to take the pain in the last few laps. However, as I said, tyre deg and tyre wear isn't as bad here as is at other circuits. So Leclerc may just get away with that one. Obviously, the hards, that's the safe option. But this is the lap that's going to win Leclerc the Grand Prix. This lap right here. George Russell may not even have to pit. So Leclerc may actually have to get the move done on track. Because the AWS timings are telling us that Russell's tyre state, you know, in pretty good shape. I think next lap, or maybe even this lap. Down the inside, Charles Leclerc overtakes his teammate George Russell and takes the lead. If he does win this will be a massive blow in the championship for not only Alpine but Carlos Sainz as well. I don't think he can catch up to George Russell. I think Ricciardo may even be able to get Carlos Sainz, you know. Max Verstappen running P5. Ricciardo's gaining. He's gaining. For Ricciardo, if he doesn't get Sainz on this lap right now, he won't get him at all. Oh, he goes slightly wide though. You will have some hours though to catch right back up. He's going to try again. No, Sainz's defense has been really good. They're round the outside. Can he make the move stick? Round the outside of Carlos Sainz. No! Sainz great defending, however, Ricciardo forces him wide. And Daniel Ricciardo now is in P3. The last lap, that's usually the lap where everything happens. However, Charles Leclerc, almost a 5-second lead to George Russell. On paper, dominant. Watching the race, he got a little bit nip and tuck at times. George Russell P2, Daniel Ricciardo P3, Carlos Sainz holds off his teammate P4 and Max P5, Antonio Giovinazzi P6, with Lando Norris running in P7, P8 was Pierre Gasly, with Sergio Perez P9, and finishing off the top 10 in P10, Oscar Piastri. P11 we have Valtteri Bottas, and P12 Esteban Ocon. What happened to his race? He really fell, wow. Alex Albon P13, Callum Ilott P14, Lance Stroll P15, Kevin Magnussen P16, Nikita Mazepin P17, Mick Schumacher P18. That's not where we're used to seeing Mick, especially with his teammate finishing in the top 10. Yuki Tsunoda P19 and Nico Hülkenberg P20. Championship wise, here's how it looks now. 21 points is the lead that Charles Leclerc has on Carlos Sainz. That's going to be hard. Very, very hard for Carlos Sainz to take his first championship. Max Verstappen and George Russell now are mathematically out of the championship. However, Charles Leclerc, this season he's had a few races, 2, 3, 4 races where he's just not been on it. Where he's managed to finish in a mediocre, maybe 6th, 7th, 8th. If he gets one of those results and Sainz wins, the door is wide open, honestly. Daniel Ricciardo, P5 in the championship. With Esteban Ocon's poor result today, that's definitely given Daniel Ricciardo some breathing space. Pierre Gasly, 15 points ahead of Lando. I think he'll be able to conserve that 7th place. I think Lando is going to be focusing on Bottas, who's 5 points behind, with Giovinazzi finishing off the top 10. Sergio Perez and Alex Albon just outside the top 10. 10 points is what separates those two. Oscar Piastri P13, Mick Schumacher P14, Lance Stroll P15, Callum Ilott P16, Nico Hülkenberg P17, Nikita Mazepin P18, Kevin Magnussen P19, and Yuki Tsunoda P20 in the championship. Constructors wise, Alpine once again have the lead of the Constructors Championship. What happened? They were off the championship lead for 2 races, I think. Yeah, they were off the championship lead for 2 races, and now they're back on top. Can Alpine make it 3 seasons in a row? Will Alfa Romeo stop them? Slightly down the grid, Red Bull now ahead of Mercedes. Last race I was saying Mercedes 7 points gap. I think they'll be fine. No, I was completely wrong. Because of Red Bull's podium and Ocon struggling so much, Red Bull have now taken P3, so that's a really close battle. Once again, Mercedes take it to the final Grand Prix to try and finish 3rd in the Constructors. McLaren P5, Force India P6, Williams P7, AlphaTauri P8, Haas P9, and Ferrari P10. Thank you for joining me for Australian Grand Prix. Can't wait to see you next time in Brazil for the final round of Season 4. Will Charles Leclerc be the first ever driver to take not only back-to-back championships, but the first driver to take 2 championships, and therefore the most successful Formula 1, the Unlimited Racing 2D champion? Or will Carlos Sainz prevent that from happening? We'll find that out in the final Grand Prix of the season in Brazil. Thank you, and see you in Interlagos.